There's so many things on the internet. They're talking about shampoos to put down this pesky, reoccurring issue called dandruff. But is anyone telling you how to fix it naturally and make it go away permanently? Today, that's what I'm going to talk about. My name's William Gaunitz. I am the founder and CEO of Advanced Trichology, as well as I've been a practicing trichologist for 21 years, and I'm a fellow with the World Trichology Society. Dandruff is a yeast, and yeast and fungus live all over our bodies naturally, and there is a skin and scalp microbiome that is a natural, balanced state, and when it becomes out of balance because there's things going on with your immune system, that's when dandruff flares up. So you can treat the symptom, which is what so many people tell you to do. Go out and get yourself a zinc-based shampoo, a shampoo with ketoconazole in it, and that's going to help put down the yeast. Well, that's true, but you have to keep using it over and over and over again. Why not correct the internal immune state so that your body doesn't allow this overactive yeast to occur? So I have three things to talk about today that are going to help you get there. Number one, and probably the most important, vitamin D3. Vitamin D3 is something that we obviously naturally get from the sun, but in today's day and age, we are inside the vast majority of the time and we're not going to get that sun exposure. Or when we're outside, we're wearing sunscreen, and that actually blocks the UV rays that turn into D3 in our skin. And that D3 is one of those things that ultimately helps our liver, helps our immune state, and actually helps our hair and scalp and all sorts of different things on our skin so that we can have a balanced, healthy skin and scalp microbiome. When it gets low, getting typically below 30 nanograms per milliliter, which is the low end of the blood test, then ultimately you're going to have all sorts of immune abnormalities. So what do? You need to get your blood levels of vitamin D3 up. Realistically, the best range for your vitamin D3 is between 60 and 80 nanograms per milliliter. If you are low, you need to take vitamin D. Now, I recommend obviously the Advanced Trichology sublingual vitamin D3, which you'll just put directly underneath your tongue. It doesn't taste like much, but you can actually use a single drop at a time and improve your overall value of vitamin D3. If you take 10 drops per day, ultimately you're going to then increase your vitamin D about 10 percentage points per month. But you must follow up with a blood test and definitely be sure that you're getting your vitamin D3 regularly tested so that you don't get too much vitamin D. Again, we want you in the wheelhouse between 60 and 80. Even if you get your vitamin D3 above 30, it will probably improve the dandruff situation or completely eliminate it, and that is obviously the objective. Now, number two, coconut oil. Now, coconut oil can be consumed orally, and there's things inside coconut oil that's called caprylic acid. It is very antifungal and anti-yeast. If you consume caprylic acid or coconut oil, then you ultimately will end up diminishing overall yeast in your body and pushing that same caprylic acid through your sebaceous glands, which happen to be on your scalp, reducing dandruff. So you can do that internally, or you can also do it externally. What you'd want to do it topically is get probably a glass dropper bottle, put some coconut oil inside that glass dropper bottle, heat that bottle up by putting it inside warm water, and allow that coconut oil to end up becoming viscous, and so you can draw it up inside the dropper and apply it directly to your scalp. If you massage that in throughout your entire scalp, let it sit for about 20-30 minutes before you get into a shower. Do this 2-3 times a week. That will be enough to knock it out. But internally is really the best way to do it. Now, ultimately, number three is probably the most efficient way long-term to keep your immune system in its most functional state. I'm a huge believer in what's called eat right for the blood type. The reason for it, I've spent 21 years in clinics watching people deal with scalp conditions, watching people deal with all sorts of hair loss issues, and when you're dealing with that, you want to have a very balanced immune system and really reduce inflammation as much as possible. To do that, you can eat correctly for whatever blood type you are. Now, there's 4 different blood types: O, A, B, and AB. Now, O and A, they are the most common, and those are going to make up about 80% of the human population. Their diets are completely different. One is a carnivorous diet, one is a vegetarian diet. If you are eating out of balance for your particular situation, you will most likely have immune flare-ups, and things can grow on your scalp and ultimately can lead to dandruff. So if you're eating right for your blood type, consuming caprylic acid, and your vitamin D is at the proper level, you will no longer have dandruff. I highly recommend doing that if that's something you're dealing with. This is the way to stop using those dandruff shampoos and actually correct the condition. I hope that helps. If you got questions, put them in the comments. If you like this content, go ahead, subscribe to this channel, like this video, and I'm happy to help in any way.